Hotep, Senu, Hena, Senut, Et, Ren-I, Shakandugu Kemet. I hope there's no denial. You are happy like the Nile. This pre-recorded video is entitled Knowledge of Hieroglyphs 200 Years Before the Rosetta Stone. I am quoting from the book Sacred Signs, Hieroglyphs in Ancient Egypt by Dr. Penelope Wilson. This is page 105. The first step in regaining the meaning of hieroglyphs was made by the Jesuit Athanasius Kircher in his book Oedipus Aegyptiacus circa 1650. He was a professor of mathematics in Rome and was interested in science and languages. He studied Coptic manuscripts, brought to Europe, compiled a Coptic grammar, and recognized for the first time that Coptic was a direct descendant of ancient Egyptian. He too was sidetracked, however, and translated hieroglyphic texts based on symbolic inferences. In 1799, part of a temple stela was discovered by the French scholars of Napoleon in Rosetta. The Rosetta Stone contains a priestly decree in honor of Ptolemy V, which was set up in a major temple, perhaps at Sais, in 196 BC. The surviving fragment of granite is inscribed with the decree to guarantee lands and endowments to the temples of Egypt, but crucially, it has the same text in 3 languages: Egyptian hieroglyphs, Egyptian Demotic, and Greek. Now, from pages 107 to pages 109, when you have this mark, for those who don't know, I'm basically bypassing, for lack of better words, some parts. So it's not the full text from pages 107 to 109. She wrote, some progress had already been made. First, Joseph de Guignes, a French Orientalist and sinologist, had recognized that groups of signs had determinatives and that cartouches contain royal names. Then Georg Zoiga, a Danish scholar, suggested that hieroglyphs could be the letters of an alphabet, and also independently suggested that cartouches contain royal names. He had learned Coptic as he felt that it would assist in his work. Johann David Archibald, a Swedish diplomat, made good progress by comparing the Greek and Demotic texts on the Rosetta Stone and identified all the proper names which occur in both texts. He also identified the words for temples and Greeks and the suffix pronoun him in Demotic. Remarkably, he published a Demotic alphabet in 1802. Thomas Young was an English physician and physicist best remembered for his discovery of the wave theory of light. He recognized the relationship with Coptic and first suggested that the Egyptian scripts used both alphabetic and non-alphabetic signs. He read the name of Ptolemy and 2 of his epithets, and also read the name of Queen Berenice and recognized that it had a feminine egg and T ending. The man who perhaps coordinated and oversaw many of these discoveries was Antoine Sylvestre de Sacy, professor of Arabic at the École des langues orientales vivantes at the Bibliothèque nationale in Paris. He had first recognized and transcribed 3 names in Demotic, but was held back by thinking of the language as written with an alphabetic script. He corresponded with and encouraged Young, but ultimately it was his own student who was to make the breakthrough. Jean-François Champollion was a child prodigy and linguist who knew Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, and most importantly, Coptic. By the time he was 16, Champollion was keeping his diary in Coptic. At this time, some Coptic priests in Egypt used the language in the Coptic liturgy. So although it had been preserved to some extent, it was still not very well known. Champollion also studied Old Chinese, Persian, and Farsi, and became a fellow of the teaching staff at the Lycée in Grenoble, age 17. He had also obtained a copy of the Rosetta Stone. The stake of knowledge at this time was as follows. The name of the king, Ptolemaios, was known from the Greek and Demotic sections and could be compared with the cartouche around the king's name in the hieroglyphic section. Champollion had to make a guess about the direction of the writing and also an assumption that the name was to be read alphabetically, with each hieroglyph being a separate sign. Once he had decided this, he had the name of Ptolemy giving him 7 letters. Independently, Young had arrived at the same point. In 1815, William J. Banks, a friend of the Duke of Wellington, had found 2 obelisks at Filey. They were brought to Kingston Lacy, Dorset, in 1827. On one obelisk, the shaft bore hieroglyphs, but the base was written in Greek. Champollion obtained a copy and found the Ptolemy cartouche, Ptolemy 8. Also on the obelisk, in the Greek, was the name of the wife of the king, Cleopatra. Champollion located the cartouche and found that he now had confirmation of some letters and a few new ones. He also had 2 letters for T, but concluded that they were homophones, sounded the same. Thanks to Young, the 2 signs of a T and an egg had been recognized as feminine ending, again confirming this was the name of a female ruler. In itself, this would not have been enough to decipher much, but Champollion compiled a list of cartouches, and thus of signs, of the Ptolemaic and Roman period, and published it in his Lettre à Monsieur Dacier relative à l'alphabet des hiéroglyphes phonétiques in 1822. This was the first breakthrough. For the record, I have a couple of videos. One uploaded 3 years ago entitled 2,000 Years Before Champollion and the Rosetta Stone. Now, just so that you can see the artifact a bit closer, a year later, I uploaded the video with that title, Decipherment of Hieroglyphs 2,000 Years Before Champollion and the Rosetta Stone. So, for those who don't know, my YouTube channel is My Art Forever. If you are interested, feel free to have a look. But what is important to take note of is that, contrary to what some people tend to think or say, you have some individuals who believe that Champollion just woke up one day and out of an extraordinary, magical, almost genius, he deciphered the hieroglyph. But it was not only the Rosetta Stone that helped him. You have heard the PhD Dr. Wilson mentioning some obelisks, and you had several names of scholars who had worked on the decipherment of the Medu-Neter. So thanks for watching, and feel free to share the video, hit the like button, and leave a comment.